What should you do if you are about to fall behind on your car payment because of a loss of income, a furlough, a loss of a second job or part-time income because of the coronavirus, the COVID-19, or something equivalent? I'm Jonathan Ginsberg, and I'm an Atlanta area personal bankruptcy attorney. And I wanted to talk to you today about repossession problems, because I think when you look at all creditor problems that you could face, I think repossession is one that can have the most impact in an emergency type of situation, because unlike other creditors, vehicle lenders can use what is called self-help. In other words, if you fall behind on a credit card with a credit card company, they have to file a lawsuit against you. You have 30 days to respond to that lawsuit. Then they've got to go to court and get a judgment. Right now, the courts are closed. I'm recording this in the middle of March of 2020, so you're not going to have any problem with credit card companies in the immediate near future. And if they do get a judgment, they have to then go garnish you. It's going to take a while. We have plenty of time to deal with that. If you're facing a foreclosure situation, even though Georgia is a non-judicial foreclosure state, there still has to be notice given. It's normally, if you fall behind, they don't normally start foreclosure until you're about 2 or 3 months behind. Then it's going to be another month and so forth. So you've got several months to figure out what to do about that sort of thing. Same with furniture or jewelry. They can't come to your house and take your jewelry, take your bedroom set, that sort of thing. But vehicles are different because vehicles are mobile. The legislature has given lenders the power to use self-help repossession to pick up a vehicle if you fall delinquent. Now, as a practical matter, and I've been doing bankruptcy work for 25 plus years, there is a difference between what I'd call first-tier lenders and the third-tier lenders. First tier would be Ford Motor Credit, Toyota Motor Credit, General Motors Finance, things like that. Second tier, I would call places like a credit union, things like that, maybe small banks that you have a relationship with. Then the third tier is typically the buy here, pay here. And for the first and second tier, most of them already have programs set up to help people who are seeing a disruption in income. I went on the website for both Ford and General Motors, and they have special programs out there if you are falling behind, need a deferment, that sort of thing. Now, again, these programs are going to be temporary. They're not going to relieve you from the obligation to pay forever, but you may get a month or two. And if you do that, you want to go to the website, follow exactly what they're telling you. You're best off learning about this before you fall behind, because once you're behind, they sort of have leverage on you. But if you're still current, finding out what the programs that might be available to you and applying for them would be a good idea, because the more you communicate with vehicle lenders, generally speaking, the better. What they get concerned about is when people ignore them, that's when they come send out the repo guy. So first-tier lenders, usually you're in pretty good shape. Although I will tell you that I looked, as of yesterday, March 15th, neither Hyundai nor Toyota, for that matter, had anything on the website about programs to help people dealing with the coronavirus. Ford and GM did, whatever that's worth. Doesn't mean Hyundai and Toyota don't, but right now it's not on their website, so that would require a phone call. And again, you want to do that. Now, I also looked at Georgia's own credit union, and they have a program. They'll offer a month deferment. They offer emergency loans, so a lot of options there, which is, kudos to them for doing that. Also looked at some websites for, I'm not going to name them, for some of the buy here, pay here, the big buy here, pay here places. They got nothing on the website, and my guess is if you call them up and say, I'm going to be missing a payment because I lost my job, or I lost my Uber, my Uber's not calling me anymore, that sort of thing, they're not going to really care. Again, I don't know, but my guess is you're going to have a hard time getting them to work with you. If they do, it's not going to be worth very much. So in that situation, I would probably tell you that if you have limited money and you need your car, then you want to put your money to keep those loans current, because buy here, pay here places will come pick up the car if you're a day or two late. And again, there's just the way they do business. They're allowed to do it. Their attitude is, and I've spoken to some of the owners of some of these places, they're offering financing to people who have less than perfect credit. These vehicles are, they're concerned about people, and they've had experience with people just taking off with the vehicle and they lose the collateral. So they're going to be pretty aggressive in going after you. So again, I would be very careful about any interaction with the buy here, pay here places if you're not able to pay. But again, it's worth a phone call, preferably before you fall behind. Once you've fallen behind, again, you're basically telling them that you're not going to be able to pay. That may be an invitation for them to come pick up the vehicle. Now, if you determine from the phone call that you're not going to get a lot of help from the lender, be it a buy here, pay here place or a first tier lender, then you got to make a decision. Do you simply say, okay, come get the car, or I'm going to get my stuff out of the car so they can come get it? Or do you say, I'm going to take limited money and not use this money for food and keep the car? Very tough choice. No great answer there. But again, if you think that long term you're not going to be able to sustain the payment, it's too high, don't throw good money after bad. Let them have the car back, return it to them if they won't work with you, or at the very least get your stuff out of the car so if they do pick it up in the middle of the night, you don't have to go chasing down your gym bag or your camera or your phone, whatever you may have left in the car. So you just have to make some tough calls there. Down the road, if you have issues with delinquent payments or with deficiency balances, things like that, we can deal with that stuff in bankruptcy. My feeling is that bankruptcy is not really a great option when things are unsettled. Again, you could still file bankruptcy and everything's done electronically. You don't have to go to court and expose yourself to a lot of people. But the problem is there's a look back in bankruptcy where they look at your income over the last 6 months. Then there's a look forward, because if things change after you file, they're going to expect you to update the budget. So many times I would tell people bankruptcy is not a great option when things are unsettled, when it may change significantly in a month or 2 or 3, because it's just going to require us to go through the whole process all over again, and it may make a big change in what you have to pay. So I would say that unless absolutely necessary, I'd probably hold off on filing bankruptcy, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to find out what the parameters of bankruptcy look like if you see yourself headed in that direction. As such, I tell people, call us. We're happy to chat with you about what the bankruptcy option might be down the road, how it works, what you should pay, how to prioritize your payments, so that if you do end up filing, you're doing so from a position of strength rather than a position of weakness. For example, I hate it when people call me and say, well, Jonathan, I just cashed out my 401k 6 months ago. I've run out of that money. Now I need to file. And I want to bang my head against the table, because a 401k money is exempt or sheltered in a bankruptcy. So don't make any big steps, any significant changes in things unless you know the full repercussions and implications. That's where people like me can help you. We've seen it all. So either Susan Bloom or I would be happy to chat with you about potential financial problems that may lead to bankruptcy or may not, but we can give you our perspective of many, many years of dealing with financial problems as to what you might want to do. You can reach us by phone, 770-393-4985. Realize we may not answer because we may be working remotely, but we both get everybody in the office gets an email when a phone call comes in. We'll call you right back. You can also reach us through our websites, Atlanta-Bankruptcy-Attorney. There's a form on that site, or bankruptcy worksheet form on that site. We get those. We'll get right back to you, and we'll help you kind of navigate these really untested waters, because we're going to be in for some changes, a real new normal in the next probably 4 to 6 months, and we want to be prepared for it. So we're here to help you, answer your questions, no pressure. Like I said, we do our meetings. We don't charge for telephone calls. We can do it by phone or by Skype. And again, we're happy to explain to you what we see coming down the pike and what this all may mean and how you can protect yourself in a time of great financial uncertainty. So I want you to stay safe out there, isolate yourself as they're all telling us to do, avoid big crowds, and be well. Again, my name is Jonathan Ginsberg, and I do wish you the best. Thanks a lot.